Hey everybody, welcome to Jimmy's Records and Tapes. I'm Jimmy Pardo. This week we're talking about 1989.
We've got it on vinyl, CD and cassette.
We've got pop, rock, heavy metal, punk, funk, rap, and new wave. All sales are vinyl, but you'll never regret all the music you get at Jimmy's Records and Tapes.
I'm loving music again. Hey everybody, welcome to Jimmy's Records and Tapes. I'm Jimmy of Jimmy's Records and Tapes. As mentioned earlier, 1989 is the year we're talking about. What was going on? Well, the World Series was interrupted by a magnitude 6.9 earthquake. It was Oakland A's versus the San Francisco Giants. I was at an open microphone at the time, and I remember we all stopped the show to watch it. And I made a joke on stage about, hey, the coverage is longer than the earthquake. And I got no laugh. Why? Not funny, just a sentence. The first human laser eye surgery was performed. Now, those that know anything about me, you know that I had laser eye surgery probably about 20 years ago. And I saved a lot of money because I just had my girlfriend, Danielle, at the time, now my wife, just used a laser from our CD player. And so that worked out very, very well. Saved some money. This eye is 20/20, and this eye plays Chicago. So I'm 20/20 in the left and 20/25 or 6/4 in the right. That's right out of the old actoroo right there, the old act. I did that joke on The Tonight Show. To silence. The Supreme Court ruled you could burn the flag as an expression of freedom of speech. Nintendo Game Boy was introduced, and the movie Batman was huge at the box office. What does your money get you in 1989? 97 cents. That's less than $1. We'll get you a gallon of gasoline. $120,000 will get you a house. And for 25 cents, you can get a stamp. And that still seemed outrageous to some people. I never understood the anger at the price of a stamp. It's magic. You understand that, don't you? I'm in Los Angeles, and I put something in an envelope, and it gets all the way to New York, and at the time for 25 cents, it's already, they're going to raise it to 29 cents. Who cares? It's magic. Why are you mad at stamps? The best-selling song of the year was Chicago's Look Away, sung by the great Bill Champlin, written by Dianne Warren. The album of the year, best-selling wise, was Don't Be Cruel by Bobby Brown, who I sat next to once and had an ice cream sundae. Milli Vanilli was the Grammy Award-winning artist for Best New Artist. They, of course, then had their had that title taken away from them, and they blamed it on a lot of things. I, of course, blamed it on the rain. And finally, the album of the year for the Grammy was Nick of Time by Bonnie Raitt. Boy, my friends and I would talk every single second we were awake about how great that Bonnie Raitt album was. I don't think I've heard one person go, you know what album's great? Nick of Time by Bonnie Raitt. Not one. I don't even know if Bonnie Raitt thinks that. I don't know Bonnie Raitt. Great guitarist, though, and a great singer-songwriter. And you know what? A great album, Nick of Time. If you get a chance, listen to it. But today, I'm going to talk about an album literally nobody has heard of. The name of the band is Big Bamboo, and the name of the album is Fun, Faith, and Fair Play. Now, controversy to nobody but me. The back of the cover says this was released in 87. The label on the actual album itself says 88, and I'm going to tell you it came out in 1989. It was produced by Richard Manwaring. Big Bamboo is a duo. A guy that goes by the name Shark, who then, when Big Bamboo broke up, he went on to form Wild Colonials that had some great success, also produced a bunch of stuff, and then a guy named Simon Ted, who then went to using his actual name, Simon Scardenelli, who is one of my favorite singer-songwriters of all time. His solo work in the past 12 years is fantastic, second to none. Big Bamboo is kind of a folky pop, kind of jangly guitar sort of stuff. It was on MCA Records. Some of the songs on this album are Fell Off a Mountain, Shooting From My Heart, which is kind of the closest thing to a single. Some videos were released on this, but there's other great songs if you want to dip into it. If You Could See Me Now, Justice, What's Bigger Than Life. Really well-written, poppy, folky pop songs is the best way to describe it. Maybe in the mold a little bit of Nick Lowe, maybe a little Dave Edmundsy, a little Rock Piley. It didn't do anything here in the States. It sold a little bit in Canada, a little bit in the UK. But I was working for MCA Records at the time, and this was released on the Uni label that MCA distributed. And we had to listen to, as a salesman for a record company, I had to listen to the product before I sold it. And I put this in, and I had a Chrysler LeBaron convertible at the time. And there's no better place to have a convertible than Chicago. The winters are too cold, the summers are too hot. You never put the top down. What a dumb car to own. But the weather was perfect when this cassette came into the office. I popped it in, the top was down, And it did everything you're looking for, man. The happy songs made me happy. The sad songs made me sad. And Big Bamboo did a tour of the MCA offices across the country. And they came to the Chicago office and did a private concert for us there in the conference room. And that was pretty neat to be, literally, a chair away from the guy, singing, "What's bigger than life?" And I remember that day very vividly because earlier that day, the conference room was used to announce that I would be leaving MCA Records. The night before, my boss, Jim, called me into his office and said, "Hey, you're doing all these open mics. You're now doing shows. You're missing. I don't think you're giving 100% of your attention to your job," which I disagreed. I was for sure not giving 100% of attention to my job. And he said, "So I think you need to make a decision on whether you want to continue working here," which, by the way, was the dream job. I'm working for a record label. I'm hanging out with record stars. I'm making amazing money. And I'm only like 22 years old, 23. And it was a decision that when I said to him, "Well, you know what? Let me think about it overnight and I'll let you know in the morning," that flabbergasted him because he couldn't believe that I wasn't going to be in it for life like everybody else was. And why wouldn't you be? It's an amazing job. So the next day I came to work and I announced, I'm giving my 2-week notice. I'm gonna pursue stand-up comedy. And about 2 weeks prior to this, the entire office came to see me perform at a place called the Barn of Barrington in Barrington, Illinois. And they saw me do a show that the word bomb isn't even fair to use as a descriptive. It was in my top 3 worst shows ever. And they all, everybody had to avoid eye contact with me come Monday morning, like, "Hey, there he is, hey, there," like all pretending we didn't all just see this happen Saturday night. Just horrible, as if why did this guy even think he should be doing comedy? Like that's how bad it was. So I now have told my boss I'm going to be quitting. And so we're having the meeting, waiting for Big Bamboo to arrive. And he said, "Okay, but before the group gets here, and before we go through the sales and everything like that, I just want to let you know that Jim has let me know that he's going to be leaving in 2 weeks. He is, in fact, going to be pursuing a career in stand-up comedy." And it was like they all had Roger Rabbit eyes, where they went, like, "What? That can't be what he's doing. He's not good at it." And they all kind of looked down at the table, the conference room table. "That a boy, that's way to go, Jim. Pursue your dreams, man. That's the way to do it." It was, they weren't wrong. It was a ridiculous decision. That said, history's on my side. I mean, look at me now, man. I'm on YouTube. Hey, welcome to this week's Quick Hit. It is Nanci Griffith's "You Made This Love a Teardrop," a song that I never heard until I saw her perform it on The Letterman Show. And I thought, wow, this is an amazing song. Why have I never heard this song? I then discovered it was on her Storms album that was on MCA Records. The label I worked for. That's how I wasn't good at my job. This woman put out a record on my label, and I didn't know about it. I got to hear about it from this comedian on late night television. Anyway, it's a great song. Nanci Griffith is an amazing singer-songwriter. The whole album is terrific. She's got a song on there called "I Don't Want to Talk About It." "It's a Hard Life Wherever You Go" is another standout track. It made me do a deep dive on Nanci Griffith that then when I once quit MCA and was traveling around the country as a comedian, I would listen to these songs, and you don't know loneliness until you're hearing songs about being lonely while you're driving cross-country alone in your convertible with the top up. Hey, that is this week's Jimmy's Records and Tapes. I thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, click that like button. Subscribe. If you got friends that are into music, let them know about the show. Maybe you have friends that are record collectors. This is the place to be. It's a safe space, man. Hey, I'm also on Twitter at Jimmy Pardo, and I host the award-winning podcast, Never Not Funny, along with my co-host Matt Belknap, who had his first girlfriend in this very year of 1989. Until I see you next week, the record's back in the sleeve.